Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just want to do a quick video. Just got off, and I'll be linking this other video, in the interview playlist in case you follow that on our channel. But basically, just finished a video with a friend of mine who is a former Jedi and kind of runs his own channel. As I said, I'll link the video, and so you guys can check that out. And if his channel interests you, hey, subscribe, check him out, see what he has to offer. I'm vacationing. It's my weekend, so don't mind the silly hoodie and such. But I wanted to touch on the subject that we had been talking about, which was senior members in the Jedi community, and kind of what that really means in regards to newer members. So if you're new to the Jedi community and such, how much stock can you put into someone being like, I've been around for XYZ number of years? I caution against it. And I do that as someone who has been around for, if you want to just consider when I found my voice in the community, if you want to consider when I stepped up and started being very active and vocal in the community, that's 1999. Discovered the community in 1995. Kind of like really took an interest in 96 and especially in 97. 97 is when I really think, but I had limited internet access back then. It was really sketchy and really shaky on how we got, or well, I was usually with a friend, but how I got online. It was different back then. I didn't really find my voice and really become active until about 1999, which again is some years ago. So what does that mean? Does that mean I am worth listening to? No, it certainly means I've seen some things in the community because I've been active that whole time. Like I've never left the community really in that time. Like there's been times I stepped away for maybe like a month or something. But even then I was still with Jedi offline every time I stepped away, and Jedi still, like even if I stepped away from like the community as in websites, like through Messenger or email or something like that, I would still have Jedi talking to me. So never really got away from the online Jedi community or the offline Jedi community really over the years. So certainly I've seen things within our community. I've seen how sites grow, collapse, and I've seen sites come and go and Jedi come and go and all that sort of thing. But does that make me like a knight, a master? Or no, of course not. That doesn't mean anything. And there's two main reasons for that. The first that you have to understand, look, when someone comes in and being like, look, I've been a Jedi for 10 years. I'm part of the old guard. Like, don't even get me started on that saying, right? Like old guard. It's just another derisive and divisional term, another glass wall thrown up by people. And it's usually thrown around by people who are not in that. There are some people who call themselves the old guard, and it's silly and it's idiotic. There's nothing to be guarding. It's just I'm not even gonna keep this video somewhat short, for once. No, so two main things. First of all, when I started out, and even I don't care if you start out in 2000, 2002, 2001, like any of those times, anything really honestly, anything before 2008, anything before that were castles in quicksand. Okay. Our Jedi mentors back in 97, when I had my first Jedi mentor was in 97, or someone I looked to as a Jedi mentor. We weren't actually like Jedi mentors. Someone I looked to in 1997 was a Jedi mentor. My first real, like, both agreed parties, and we're going to be a training relationship, so my first real mentorship was in 1999 as well. early 1999. 98? No, 99. But the thing in that all those people, they were around my age, which was teenager, and they had as much time in the community as me, and they knew sometimes less than me about, you know, the Jedi lore, you know, the fictional inspiration that we were looking to apply to everyday life. Because I had been looking at things like the Jedi Code and the movies and quoting movies and playing Jedi in my backyard since 1990, right? Like that was my childhood dream. I wanted to become a Jedi Knight. So I had been looking into the path and trying to live it since I was basically 10 years old. But of course doing that as a kid would, you know, running around the backyard and such. But again, and so even like big websites like, oh, I was part of the Force Academy. In 1999, they gave me the title of Jedi Master, you know, and wanted to put me in council. I actually did put me in the council position, light council, and then the inner council for a whole of 2 seconds until I lost my internet connection and came on and was like, nope, too much responsibility for me, too much for me. That scared the monkeys out of me. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't prepared for that. So yeah, so I ran away from that. But I ran into the rest of the community and kind of jumped around sites and always stayed involved. And so but the point is that, yeah, Jedi Master at 1999 with as much time as I've been there. No, that's silly, right? Yeah, it was building organizations, building castles in quicksand, right? It was not just sand. It's not just a poor foundation. It was a sinking foundation. And for years and years, we were building upon that sinking foundation. So as the castle sunk, we built on top of it. And eventually, you know, you are going to hit the bottom of that quicksand pit, right? Eventually, there's a bottom. So, you know, those castles would hit the bottom, and we would start building on that, building on that, and building on that. And it's really not until like 2008 that we start building on solid foundation from all the ruins and rubble of our past communities. So the validity of all that past stuff is questionable. There's plenty of questionable material from back then, you know? And like I said, we were all on the same level, basically trying to figure it out. You know, the fact that I was put into mentorship and leadership roles, proof of that, you know, it's crazy talk, especially back then. So yeah, it was being around that is not like being around now. If you're starting now, in 10 years, you're going to be way better than anybody who's like, you're going to have a much different standard of what being around in the community means in 10 years. In 10 years, it may mean something. When someone's like, I've been around for a decade, they probably won't need to say it because they'll just, like, it'll be a different, you'll be able to really see it and you'll be able to really feel it. Because we aren't building off of that anymore, you know, like we are building off of really solid foundations now. We are really working from the life experience of people who have been calling themselves Jedi for a long time. But yeah, it's a totally different thing starting now. If you're just starting out, you're fortunate. You're lucky. It's good. I know I probably sound like one of those old people that's like, oh, back in my day, we didn't have a fancy computers to talk with. Like, it's not really about all that, you know. But I'm sure it sounds that way. But you do have a much better educational system and academic system in place. You have much better lessons in place than what was available. Not only when I was starting out, but just 10 years ago in 2005, you had some good structure, some place that offered some good structure, but it was still lacking because, again, you can have decent material, but if no one's like been living it and truly applying it to life for a good amount of time, it's all basically theory. So we may have had some good material around that time, but it was a lot of it was theory, and it didn't have enough actual experience and application to really be grounded and set as foundational. which is different now. How you do have people, and that's a part where experience and time served does matter. It does play a part that someone has been living it for so long, but you need to be able to discern that. And the way you discern that is by looking at actions, by looking at what a person says, what they're doing. Look at their material. Don't just accept a person's resume. Don't just accept their, oh, I've been around for this long. That's fine. Like, don't look at me and be like, oh, you've been around for that long? Oh, man, you must be like, don't do that. What you want to do is look at the material, look at what I'm saying, look at what I offer. Now, does that ring true? Is that something that you feel fits with the Jedi ideals? Not only that, do what here at Jedi Living we have what we call an AP/BP test, and basically, so that stands for applicable, practical, beneficial, and positive. So is it applicable to everyday life? Is it practical to be living by this? Is it beneficial to your life and to the world around you? And then is it positive? Does it positively impact you and your world? If you can say yes to all of that, then that's what we're going for. That's basically how we approach all of our inspiration, right? Like when we look at things like the Jedi Code and the Jedi Rules of Behavior and Yoda quotes and things like that, or quotes from the movies or TV shows, video games, etc. That's what we're holding them to that test. Okay, does it fit? Does it flow? Does it fit within the Jedi philosophy? And then if so, does it pass the AP/BP test? So you want to do the same thing especially with people who are like, I've been doing this for X, Y, and Z, or I'm a Jedi Master. Like, even if they don't, you will have first stage Jedi Masters, so you do have to be careful of that. But again, if you're looking at material, don't look at resumes so much as materials. Is the material working? Is the material making sense? If so, where does it come from? You gotta be careful because some people will snag material. And if they do, you probably want to go to the source of the material. Like at Jedi Living, we have a Jedi archive, and we've archived lessons in academies of different Jedi sites. Some are still active. So if those are speaking to you better than the material at Jedi Living, don't hang around at Jedi Living. Be like, hey, this place is still active, and these lessons I'm vibing with. I'm jonesing these things. I want more of this. Well, then go to that place. If that place it's what's speaking to you, if that's what's working for you, don't hang around a community that's not. Go to that community and get to the source of that inspiration and the thing that you're really vibing with. So it's important because it was different. Standards were different too. Back when as I said, I got title. I got a lot of titles, and I got them really quickly, and a lot were really undeserved. It was just because I was willing to help out and I was knowledgeable, which is fine enough, but you want more than just knowledge. Okay, this is a lifestyle, and you're gonna want people who know what it's like to live it, because when life presents you with challenges and you really don't know how you're interacting, like how does this path interact with this, and it can become really confusing. You want someone who can understand that, who can understand what you're going through, who's been through that, who has experience with that. And maybe they haven't been through it personally, but maybe they had a student that will, like that's when kind of the experience and time served, if you will, does play a part, but it's not everything. But but you want to make sure that the person's actually been living it. To be like, so there's was recently a Jedi who came back into the community, and he's like, yeah, I've been around, I've been doing this thing since 1996. Is there a way that I can kind of do an assessment test, basically, and kind of see where I fall within your rank structure? And again, people were throwing around that term "old guard," which I really hate, and kind of taking it as he was just trying to skip things. And whether he was or wasn't isn't the point, as much as I know his history. And his history is he's left the community, sometimes for years at a time. So just because, oh, hey, I was there in 1996, well, that's wonderful, but you haven't been here the entire time. You haven't stuck it out the entire time. You haven't been involved the entire time. You know, there's something to be said for being involved. But again, likewise, I know a person who's like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years, been involved the entire time, and then they have all these. They define Jedi in the most un-Jedi-like ways possible. If you follow a 365 Jedi blog that I put up, you know what I'm talking about. You know, like you get these things and you're just like, that makes no sense. And yet people hold you up as a Jedi Master and because you've been a Jedi for so long and blah, blah, blah. And no. Again, look at the material. Look at what's being said. If that vibes, if that passes the test, right, then you have something to work from. But don't just accept any sort of seniority. Don't accept any sort of like lineage, right? Really look at it. Really look at what's being said. Look at what's being taught. You know, remember that you are your own Jedi Master. So it really falls to you. But you don't want to hitch your wagon, right? You don't want to put your faith in someone that can gear you towards a wrong turn when it's not necessary. Your I want to say ignorance can do that enough, right? Like if you're new to a path, it's better that you work it out, that you follow in our footsteps of working it out yourself than to go ahead and follow under the tutelage of someone who's not even living it and has all these, you know, like a completely different view of what being a Jedi is than the entirety of the Jedi community, right? Like that should be a warning sign. When all our diverse websites and organizations have this core understanding of what a Jedi is, and then a supposed 10-year Jedi Master comes around and doesn't match any of that, that should be a warning sign, you know. So be careful with that. Yeah. So that's mainly what this video was about. That's mainly just wanted to put it out there. If you're new, be careful with that. Don't let, oh, I've been a Jedi for 10 years, amaze you, or I've been a part of this site for 10 years, amaze you. Like, don't do any, like, don't fall for that. Okay, that doesn't matter at all. Yeah. Look at what's being said. Look at that. Yes, experience matters, but if they've truly been investing their time, right? If they've truly been living it, if they've truly been investing their time in the path and becoming a Jedi, that will reflect, okay, in their actions and in their material and in the things they have to say. That will reflect. If they haven't been, if they've stayed where they are and they're still giving you the same material that they were giving away 10 years ago or 15 years ago, yeah, you need to be careful with that. I know, like, ancient wisdom and all that is unchecked and unchanged for thousands of years or hundreds of years or whatever, but we have been building in a quicksand pit, okay? Our wisdom is not infallible. We are very much working out this path. This is a newbie path. So there is growing periods in there, and there's things like this, which if you're new, you're going to be really helping. Because as I said, it's just now that we're getting a really solid foundation from people to grow from and from our community to grow from. So from here on out, it should be pretty amazing to watch and see how people grow and progress as Jedi, and then as the Jedi, and see how the Jedi community itself progresses from that. And I think it'll be really amazing. I think the Jedi community in 10 years will basically be pretty unrecognizable in a good way, you know. Whereas if you look at the Jedi community now and what the Jedi community was back in 1997, there's definitely a difference, but that's mostly a technological difference. You know, it's not even really, like, there's a difference in material for sure. But if you go back from, you can look at a site that was created in 1995 and a site that was created in 2005, and you can be like, 1999 to 2001. Yeah, there wasn't much progress there. There's a lot of sites. You look at 1999 sites and 2001 sites, and you're like, wow, the 1999 site is better. So yeah, but from this point forward, I think it's going to be pretty amazing. And if you're new, you get to be a part of that journey. And I really look forward to seeing, how you progress the path and things like that. But yeah, for me, so it's important. So it's important that you do look at it and you judge it properly. Remember, you're your own Jedi Master. You will get, what you put into it matters, but you have to be discerning, and you have to look at things, and you have to be willing to question things. And don't just accept something because someone's like, I've been doing this for so many years. I even pull out that line sometimes. Like, I'm like, I've been doing this a while. So, eventually you'll get to eventually you'll understand what I'm talking about. But that's just part of the thing anyways. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. But that is, like, sometimes you will just get there. And that just happens. Like Gray Jedi. I'll tell every single person who identifies as a Gray Jedi right now, I guarantee you 10 years from now, you won't be rocking that title. I can near guarantee that. I will guarantee that. Come look me up in 10 years. If you're still rocking that title, we'll do a video together, and we'll pull up this video. Maybe it's holograms in 10 years. Who knows where technology is going? But we'll do something. Maybe I'll just teleport over, and we'll who knows, right? But those, there's certain things that does take time, and that you grow and understand, and eventually you'll understand. But that should never be the case with the basics of path, right? That should never be the case with basic understanding. The definition of a path. If someone's like, what's a Jedi without the Force? And they have this complete sideways view of that. You can reasonably infer that they might not be the best source to be getting your Jedi information from. So yeah, just look at it, just question, and don't accept anybody's Jedi resume as proof that there's some sort of master or whatever. Question. All right, that's it. That's what I'm repeating myself, but that's all I really wanted to say. Hopefully, I haven't been rambling for too long on that. So, may the Force be with you guys.